Today on Mike's Camera Action, we finally get around to watching a Miyazaki film. Of course, this is the only one that I know of with the Rotten Tomatoes score in the negatives. Today we're looking at Tales from Earthsea. I'm your host, Carl Pontisso, and I'm joined by my co-host, Alex.
Sup?
And of course, my lovely recurring guest, David.
And recurring lore master.
Damn right. You got to have your lore masters in there, okay? It's very important. Don't. Alex has just leaned over and turned up my headset volume, which is very worrying.
I also love that we started this with a negative Rotten Tomatoes. That is impressive.
It's certified rotten, not fresh. That's
Yeah.
because Rotten Tomatoes doesn't go into the negative.
It does not.
Learn how to Rotten Tomatoes, Carl, please.
What? Oh,
You're a pretty rotten podcast host, if we're honest.
I know my stuff. I figure the best way to talk about this is, David, what is Tales from Earthsea? Like, what is the best way? What is this movie about?
Tales from Earthsea is what happens when you try to make 4 books into one movie without reading any of them.
Do I at least read the Wikipedia synopsis?
No. In fact, you actually just take things from other pieces of media for a laugh. There are 4 Earthsea books.
Mm-hmm.
This is very loosely the plot of the 3rd one with the characters and setting of the 4th.
Oh, okay. This movie's weird. Where you were telling me like, oh, it's not very good, and I was like, yeah, but that'll be fun. And at the beginning, I was totally into it. Like, the opening of this movie is great, where it's like, you've got a bunch of sailors on this boat, and they're seeing these 2 dragons fight, ending in a dragon dying. They approach this. The king. This comes to the king, who's saying, "Oh well, dragons fighting heralds the end times." And then the king is assassinated by the prince, steals his sword, makes off with it. Then we find a wizard in the desert, full of ships, marooned in the sands of the desert. He fights off a bunch of wolves. Takes this kid to Horsetown, which we'll get to Horsetown in a sec.
I have a lot of feelings about the horses in this film.
Yeah. And it's like this crumbling, like, next to fallen empire worth of a city. And then none of this is relevant in any way. None of this matters to the wider plot.
No.
Which is so
Should it?
unfortunate, because that was so cool. The opening was so damn cool, and none of it's important.
Realistically, you could cut this at the point where he gets rescued from slavers, just like that's the first time any of the characters met each other. Same movie.
Yeah, really, like, we're not
Yeah.
losing much from missing the opening with Horsetown at all, or the king, or the dragons.
All right.
Much.
I want to talk about the horses, though.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Don't forget to mention the Horsetown.
Okay,
The city.
so I'll say Horsetown is a giant city. It's like the first city we find. And it's neither a town nor has a single horse in it. Every animal we see there is a cow. Like the guards here ride bulls.
Yeah, no, those are horses.
There's a horse, and it wasn't even in the city when we find it. It was brought there.
Actually, no, there's actually 2 of them.
Was there?
Yeah, when they go to like the inn and he ties it up, there's actually a couple near it. As well as some horses.
Do they look the same as the weird freak?
Yeah. So Aaron's horse, I think the horses were drawn by people who've never seen a horse before, but have seen deer.
The animated drew that horse worse than I've drawn a horse before.
So I don't know whether or not they were trying to be like, ooh, this is a fantasy horse, but it was a deer.
It was just so wrong.
Yeah.
Like, the proportions, the neck, the face.
It was like a llama and a deer got it on.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no animal you could have called it, and I would have
No.
said, yes, that is correct. I
Yeah.
agree with this.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
feel
look
like we
right.
got closest with deer,
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
neck was off-putting.
The ears are wrong for a deer, the tail's wrong for a deer,
No,
everything
it's got
else
the
is
little
right.
fluffy bit for it.
No, it has like a hair thing, not a
Yeah.
tuft.
Yeah, it's got like a
It looks like a
drooping long
tuft.
Oh yeah, it's animated badly, especially when you see it running from behind. It doesn't.
It's got like the cloven hooves that I would not cloven, but like the toe hooves rather than like the big solid hoof
Yeah.
of a horse.
thing. Yeah, deer hooves. Yeah, deer hooves. They're cloven, right?
I don't know.
the
I'm
difference.
gonna give the word cloven there.
I'm just gonna throw it
They're
out
in 2 parts.
Yeah. Whereas
Toad
like
hooves. Pig
whereas
hooves.
like it looked a lot more. I'd argue that it looked a lot more like a llama or something.
Yeah,
Fair.
the way it stood with its neck very vertical was very llama-like.
Yeah, and the
compared to
fluffy
a
bit
deer.
under the neck was also.
Yeah, we were watching this together, and we had a moment where we said, hang on, what is that animal that he's riding on?
Yeah, and then at the end of the film, they're like, come on, take your horse. I'm going to borrow your horse. And we're like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, this is a horse?
Yeah, that one character just asked, should you be taking his horse? And we're like, wait, did she call it a horse? And had to rewind it just to make sure.
We rewound it just to make sure they said the word horse.
Yeah, and sure enough, they act like it ain't no thing. Sure, it's a horse. Okay.
It's a fantasy horse.
We should also mention that of the absolute freak that this horse is, it's nowhere close to the absolute freaks
God.
in this movie.
So when I found out Willem Dafoe would be playing the villain of this movie, I was expecting something strange from Willem Dafoe voice acting for an animated character. Little did I know that the animated character would be weirder than Willem Dafoe.
Oh.
Would be more of a freak than him himself.
Yeah, it was really cooked.
This is he's sitting there for the entire movie like whispering, and it's like you can tell it's Willem Dafoe whispering because occasionally like he peeks out of the whisper into like just the voice, like the Spider-Man kind of voice. And also this is a horrifying person that's got like the weirdest shaped head.
Yeah.
And is really oddly like, it's the strangest
It's actually
voice
just
coming
a
out of a
slime.
very effeminate like looking face, which then later on just mutates into a weird hollow void.
He definitely morphs several different times.
Yeah.
Because he has his dark wizard form,
His
which is
goo
an absolute
monster
freak.
form.
Then he has an old person form.
Then he has the bird form.
Yeah. And then right at the
Which is
end,
still
he has
goo.
that skipped leg day
Yeah.
forever form.
Hulked out in top, but tiny legs. Like chicken legs compared to his enormous
Carl's
rage.
ideal body.
No, my ideal body's the callus bod now. It's like giant arms and everything else is just fat.
Or just vanity muscles, right?
Just like tree trunk battering rams for arms. Then everything else can be whatever, like atrophied or enormous, doesn't matter. Just provided the arms are huge. Want to be swole right here, and that's it.
And for those who don't know, Carl just gestured at
to
his
my
bicep-
guns.
at his biceps. You
Forearms too. They got to be jacked too.
You may not have realized this because this is an audio medium, not a visual medium.
Visual jokes are the best for audio mediums.
Yeah, allegedly audio friendly.
Like, if I ever do this, I made a gun at someone. That's how you know I'm cool, even though you just get an annoying sound effect.
See?
Carl just flipped the bird.
In the other name for the podcast, back to the movie.
Back to the movie.
Let's talk a little about the story.
Yep.
Which really just takes a turn after those first 10 minutes where it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the first 10 minutes, dopest. If the film was like kept up that intensity, I would have loved this film.
I would have been really into it. It would have held me, but we got not that.
Yeah, honestly, even if it was just a short film and it ended with the king getting stabbed.
Yeah.
would've
Like, just a
That
little
could've been
more
something
character
good.
to the king, what he's trying to do about the land, and
Yeah.
maybe meet the stabber.
Yeah. Maybe meet the stabber.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe meet him beforehand and have like a little bit more than just a throwaway line saying, "Hey, the prince is like, you seen him?"
Yeah.
You know?
Haven't seen him in a while. You seen him? No, he's 17 now. He can do what he wants.
He's practically a man now.
I mean, for that time, he's like middle-aged. He's going to be dead in 3 weeks.
Especially with the way he lives, going around getting slaved.
Yeah. He's really bad. He gets enslaved for a little while
Yeah.
because he goes to sleep on a dock after getting in a fight with some slavers.
Yeah. Like, hey, let me just pick a fight with a bunch of slavers. They're still fine, but like, oh, they running. And then I'm just gonna pass out in the on like a staircase in the
docks.
docks.
Why didn't he go like? Where was Sparrowhawk? Didn't
At
he
the
have
inn.
Why didn't he go
Sparrowhawk
to-
was at the inn.
Why didn't he go to the inn?
Hell
never
if
got
I
that.
know. He could have gone to a room where it's warm, where Sparrowhawk is. The
Remember
one
that-
person he can trust in this city.
Remember the scene where he looked at the fountain and it was like spooky?
Okay.
Yeah,
That
vaguely.
was what he stayed there for.
Spooky fountain. He wasn't even at the fountain. He was on the docks. He walked how many miles away just to then sleep on the dock.
Yeah.
Oh, let me just sleep on these nice cold stone steps so that any slaver can come and grab me.
But then we meet our good fantasy girl, Tenar, there. About to get enslaved.
Yep, in the process of being enslaved. Like, here it is. So it was Cheech as the voice actor for...
Yeah, Cheech.
Yeah. Yeah, Cheech of Cheech and Chong fame.
Yeah, the guy who also plays Uncle Felix in the Spy Kids films.
Yeah. And so...
And Ramon in Cars, because that was
Is
what he was
Ramon in Cars?
Yeah, that was what he was advertised in the back of the
That's right,
Blu-ray
yeah.
for, Cars, and I was like,
Of
wait a
all the
minute.
people.
Weird casting choice for a decidedly non-comedic role.
Yeah.
Although out of all the characters, I would have said he was the most comedic.
Yeah, I'll give you that much.
Like,
I'd say the old ladies were probably the comic relief. They show up and actually
the
try to
one
be funny.
scene they're in where they're just shit-talking someone to
Yeah.
her face.
Yeah, back to my lovely girl Tenor.
Yep.
'Cause I don't think I've mentioned this before.
is she your waifu or?
No, not at all.
No.
Because she got burnt
Yeah.
on her face, which
Yep.
is just the slightest bit of red color.
Yeah.
Ever. In the books, she's burnt to ever-loving hell.
Really?
Like half her face and one of her arms is missing.
Oh, fuck.
Straight up burnt off.
Damn.
And in this, they say, nah, too hard to animate.
That's some Mortal Engines shit right there.
And it
So-
fits with this movie, it's just very mellowed out.
Is it even possible for her to have been burned anyway, considering she's actually a dragon? Like, can dragons
I
be
can
hurt by
test that.
fire? Because you've got... now that I say that, I'm realizing, like, how dumb that sounds, because they probably can, because humans... like, in this world, it's like, Earthsea is people. Like, the dragons and humans were once the same species, but humans took up the like water and earth, and dragons went with wind and fire as like their things. So humans can drown, humans can die of being buried alive. So I'm assuming dragons can be burned. I'm just now having that
I
realization.
think also the thing is, if I just took like a glob of human spit and threw it at you, it could probably hurt you.
Gross. I don't know about hurt, but I'd feel a bit offended.
Yeah.
You just gozzed on me.
To kind of jump around, the ending of the movie.
Yeah.
Tanard dies in a really weirdly framed kind of way, but
Yeah.
I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Then she, for no reason, turns into a dragon.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no prelude to this. There's
No,
no.
But at the same time, the dragons disappeared for the entire movie, and I would have been really upset if it never came back that dragons exist in this world.
Theru was the dragon, Tanar was the
Oh,
witch.
am I using the wrong names?
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, I thought Tanar was... Yeah, Theru is the dragon.
All right. There you go. There's a point in fantasy about making characters have distinctly different names,
Yeah.
but we'll move on.
We don't need that in this movie.
All right, Tanar, some old hag, and Teru is a dragon. For no reason, once again. Just she dies, turns into a dragon, goes on a little bit of a joyride, kills the main villain, but not in a cool way.
Just
She
burns
doesn't burn him, though, because he's just on fire.
Yeah,
Like,
he just lights
there's
on
no
fire.
flame breath. He is just now on fire, and it really doesn't make sense.
Like, burn, baby, burn, Disco Inferno.
And they
Maybe it was a miracle. He just spontaneously combusted. I've never seen anything like that in my life. The man just caught fire. It was incredible.
and
Just he chose that exact moment to light on flame.
Then there's a lovely bit of a dragon hug, and she's human again.
Yeah, and then they never talk about it again.
Yeah.
Ever. At
mean,
all.
You'd assume they'd make the point of, like, if she wants freedom so much that she'd become a dragon, and that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Never discussed. Not
Nope.
in her character in the slightest.
Oh,
It just...
we don't need to make this relevant at all. We can just gloss over that.
Exposition is entirely optional.
What? I'm sorry. I'm reading like the Wikipedia article for the 4th book.
Yeah.
Where she's like half dragon, half human.
Apparently.
Apparently,
Phase.
apparently she calls to a dragon for help. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you read the books?
I did read the books.
When?
A while ago now.
Yeah, apparently another dragon rocks up and saves them. Basically,
Okay.
Cullis and
What a nice dragon.
Yeah.
But she doesn't turn into a dragon now. She just got burnt. She
yeah. But
The,
they all
the burnt half is the dragon half. It's all
the
just
ending
gone,
is still
though.
the same. They still go live on a farm.
Yeah, there's a lot of time. Like, most of the time in this movie, like, not so much screen time, but the time spent for the characters is on a farm, just doing farm work.
Yeah, Aaron's just like, yeah, we're working on a farm now.
And,
It's like
and they're just all
Sparrowhawk's a
cool with
wizard,
it.
but I'm working on a farm now.
Is there nothing better they could be doing as a wizard? Like, heck, could a wizard not just grow the plants
and
with
in,
magic?
in the books, he's the prince of the world. So Aaron actually gets the title.
Wow.
What?
He actually achieved something good.
He saves the world from the apocalypse and is like, yeah, well, I'm king now.
Unlike this movie where they bring up the apocalypse and then shelve it away forever.
And most of his time in the fourth book is spent trying to convince Sparrowhawk to like be an advisor and don't just sit on a farm, please.
Sparrowhawk,
There's better
please
things to
do
do.
something. Stop being a lazy shit.
Please, Sparrowhawk, you're my only hope.
Contribute, you bastard. You're an archmage. Make a difference.
Well, no, not an archmage. The
Archmage.
Yeah.
You're
Definite
the number
article.
one.
We should also mention that towards the end of the film, when there's the big confrontation between the absolute freak that is Willem Dafoe and the apparently half dragon and the prince, they just do nothing.
Yeah, Sparrowhawk does. Sparrowhawk being the archmage makes no attempt to help in any way in
Look,
what is the biggest battle.
Can we just talk about this whole Sparrowhawk being the Archmage for a thing?
Yeah.
So, out of all the people we've seen, including the Mustache Council,
Yep.
who are just dudes with mustaches, and
Yeah, the
apparently
King's
very-
Advisors, which is pretty much like this podcast. It's all just dudes with beards.
The table is divided into the mustaches and the beards.
Yep. It's just men with facial hair. That's all of the King's Advisors.
Out of all of them, the only wizard we actually see, other wizard, is the one on the boat, and Cobb. So, like, so Sparrowhawk is better than that dude on the boat, probably.
They make it seem like wizards are a really common thing, though.
We do meet the king's old-ass advisor wizard, but he does absolutely nothing. He just kind of explains about dragons.
Yeah, Sparrowhawk is... What's with the staff, too? I'd never understood why they needed a staff.
Yeah, they
Well, he
don't
casts-
use the staff, though.
He
it's
casts a light
torch.
spell on it.
Yeah.
They cast a light spell
Look.
just below the tip.
Yeah, that really bothered me as well.
Really?
Yeah.
That the tip of it doesn't light up, it's just below it on the wood
Yeah,
part.
yeah, it's just below it. That actually kind of bothered me.
At least it was consistent throughout.
Yeah, it was consistent, but it consistently bothered me.
Oh, we should mention that this movie does look gorgeous.
Oh, it's
yeah,
pretty.
it's like
It's still the
Ghibli
Ghibli
standard.
style,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's beautiful. It's really nice to look at, except the story just doesn't hold up.
Yeah. Hold
Well, I
up?
mean,
No, it just isn't
Once again,
good.
Cobb is not really nice to look at.
No, not at all. Take him off screen, please. Stop it.
Yeah, still not the worst thing I've seen.
So Cobb's
Yeah, that's true.
so Cobb's thing is he wants to become immortal. How? So he's I didn't quite get how he was going about doing that, because his whole thing was he kidnaps Aaron and tells him that Sparrowhawk's goal is to become immortal, but I don't really when he does, and then convinces Aaron he wants to become immortal, and then Aaron's also the key to immortality. Like, I didn't grasp any of how that went together.
It's probably fair considering none of it was ever explained.
Yeah. That just made no sense to me. And then Cobb's whole shtick is he wants to become immortal. And then the moral of the story is you can't have immortality, because to have immortality means you don't have death, and to not have death means you don't have life, like opposites attract and all that kind of stuff.
And Carl, how many friends have you lost over this argument already?
So many. I'm surprised more people don't want to be immortal. I'm shocked.
Why do you just assume that people want to be immortal?
Because it means forever life. What you'll think of all the things you'll miss, Alex.
And
That's it. Like, I'm at some point I'm going to die, and I'm going to miss every next Marvel movie forever.
Yeah.
Someone at some point has seen every Marvel movie bar Infinity War because they died before it.
and
It's sad. Picture the people who.
But it's the nature of human existence.
Yeah, but why should that be the case? Anyway, we're getting into a whole ethical thing here.
Yes.
I could go on about this, and I have.
You know,
Carl
if
just-
you rearrange the letters in Carl, you get Voldemort.
Yeah,
I am Lord Voldemort. Thank you very much.
yeah. You arrange Carl Robert
rearrange-
Pintisso into that.
You rearrange Carl and you get Lich. It just makes sense.
I knew it. I knew there was a lich on the podcast.
That was absolutely thought out way too far in advance to be a coincidence.
You can't have a good podcast without a Lich being involved. It's just impossible. All right? It's in iTunes' terms and conditions.
Yeah, that's why
It's like
I'm the lich.
It's like a guild.
That's why I'm the lich.
Don't start, Alex. You want to die eventually.
Exactly. That's why I'm the lich. The lich always gets defeated, and how it works.
No, not if they're a good one.
Yeah.
Well,
you'd be
you
a
build
Lich
your
King.
tomb of horrors, and then we'll talk later.
Yeah. You watch.
Anyway, this is not a D&D podcast.
Not yet.
Why don't I have one yet? Because I don't have the bookings.
I should say, concerning it being a fantasy movie, it follows the very traditional mark of nobody ever actually really accomplishes anything through skill or effort.
Not really, no.
It all just kind of happens.
Yeah, Aaron.
Yeah.
Although Aaron kind of learns a lesson in this movie, at least that much happens. Like he at least learns, hey, you should accept that death eventually happens, kid.
Yeah,
even though you're the key to immortality.
So
Also, you just stabbed your father.
Yeah, also he did murder his father and no one calls him up on it. He even admits it to what's her face, Dragon Girl, and then just like everyone is cool with it. Just brushes it off like, yeah, you committed regicide and patricide all in the same boat. But that's cool because you learned the lesson about being
But
a
also,
good
she's
person.
a dragon. She doesn't give.
she's just like, that's a pretty big oof there, Aaron.
This makes the oof become the big oof. My God. I can't believe that's never touched on. No one even brings it back up. The only time the king dying to the prince ever comes up is he says, I stabbed him.
You know what? This film.
I felt bad and stabbed him.
You know what? This film reminds me of The Last Jedi a bit because it comes up with so many good ideas, but then touches on none of them, and then you're like, all right, this is a film that I feel mildly disappointed about.
A little bit.
Mildly disappointed.
Well, I did.
Earthsea mildly disappointed.
Honestly, I was
Jedi. Oh man,
I was a
that's
little bit.
another podcast.
That's honestly about 60% of the audience disappointed in terms of revenue.
I was a little bit like roller coastering on this movie, where I had expectations really low, and then the start happened, and I was like, surely it can't be that bad. Like they shot back up, and then they went back down.
Then they get to the farm, and you're like,
yeah, and I was like, maybe it'll be good. No,
I should mention, when I first watched this, I really wanted to like it.
I want to like every movie I see. It just doesn't work out that way sometimes.
I know I'm always down to watch absolute shit, but like, it's fancy, it's beautifully drawn.
Yeah.
Come on, this has to be at least decent. And
nah,
It's
it
a
doesn't- it
Miyazaki
doesn't
movie,
pass.
except it's not.
It's like adequate at best.
yeah.
Yeah, which is a goddamn shame.
What is it rated on Rotten Tomatoes? Let's
Shoot, bring
find
it up.
out.
I'm
I
gonna
think
take a
it's
guess.
45.
Oh, I was gonna throw out like 43 if I had to try
Tales
to shoot.
from Earthsea 2006 film.
It's rarely offensively bad. It's just
41%.
confused. 41.
Ooh, that's not thought.
Yeah, like I said, it suffers from the Last Jedi issue where they were trying to do a lot and so little, and then not care.
Simplify, bruv.
Also, to be fair, Goro Miyazaki rocked up to like draw some things, and then they're like, "Oh man, you're the director now."
Yeah.
I hope he ddidn't draw the horses, and then they said, "Hey, you should direct this."
It might be my favorite bit of IMDb trivia that says he was chosen because he could make decisions quickly. Because it's like, you didn't make good decisions, but you did it with gusto. And I
I
like
feel-
that. You should direct.
Maybe that's half of showbiz. Just like, well, he threw out an answer, so give him the job. Like he came to a decision real quick. Like he gave us an answer without giving it any thought at all, any consideration for the possibilities that may happen from this.
Good work is 90% confidence.
Oh, this thing is clearly not a horse.
Yep. No, at all. I want to bring up something that the last note I had in my notes page. Every time Cobb disappears from view in that final act, he moves really quickly. But every time the camera's looking at him, he's like hobbling and crawling along like a crippled old man. But the moment he disappears from the camera view, he shoots 50 feet away from Aaron. Like, he moves impossibly faster when you stop looking at him. He's like a weeping angel in that the moment you stop, he's gone. Like, he shoots up like 30 feet into the air, climbing up this brickwork the moment he disappears from sight. And then as soon as Aaron turns the corner to look at him, he's like, like feebly climbing this tower.
He's not a very good old man. But now that we're here, we should talk about Teru's death scene.
Yeah.
Because she gets choked out, and it's cut together in such a way that, like, she's dying, and Aaron's looking at it happen. But when it cuts to the wider shot, it's blocked out, so he's really not. He's looking in the exact opposite direction.
Yeah.
It's
He's
like,
also
why are you
far
reacting
away.
to this?
He's so far away too, just like a mile across this tower. They also did like, speaking of the tower collapsing, it's like a video game where like all the bricks that crumble, it's like the exact distance like There's like this odd exactism to all the bricks still left.
Yeah.
Where they're like perfectly spaced apart. It's like, did Cobb design this tower to crumble in this way?
Oh no.
What's up?
Oh
no.
I was sorry.
That
I just
bad?
started looking at the trivia and I just realized that the only reason we didn't get a Hayao Miyazaki sea film was because
Yeah,
he was
'cause
making
busy.
Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh man.
And Howl's Moving Castle was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fair trade, but all the same.
I
Maybe
would
they
have
should have just
rather
held on to
both.
this. Just hold on to one of them and make the other one later.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
think about it. If this was a good movie, I would have chosen something worse for you both to watch.
That's true. That is true.
It's the first Disney animated film to achieve a PG-13 rating.
Wait, did you say Disney?
Yeah, it's Disney distributed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We should also mention it
To achieve a PG, really?
Yeah.
PG-13 in America. It's M here. That's entirely in the dragon getting its throat ripped out at
Yeah.
the start,
Yeah,
which
pretty
is
much.
brutal for the movie because the rest of it's very, very tame.
Yeah.
I know.
You're really not wrong. Like, nothing else in this movie really happens that is that mature. Except for maybe a guy trying to sell a kid drugs.
Yeah, but even then, he just calls it bliss. He doesn't
Yeah.
say like, "This will make your teeth fall out, kid."
It's like, I'm pretty sure Bliss is a Riverdale drug.
I think it's from. There's one in Doctor Who as well.
Yeah, it's the patches.
Yeah.
Make you feel emotions. I remember that. It's the episode set in New York, which is actually like new or
Was it
something.
New Earth?
Yeah, it's on a New Earth.
Yeah.
New
New York
it's
on New
gridlock.
Earth.
Is that like
It's-
10,000 years in the future from Futurama?
Yeah, it's so what it is they're on a different planet and they've built New York, but the doctor's like, oh, technically it's new, and there's like 27 news,
Oh my god.
York, but
Yeah.
everyone just calls it New York. Yeah, it's bliss because all the people in the parliament died, and that's why the gridlock happens. They can't move through the system, and then they open up to kill the crab things.
That was a better episode than this movie.
Oh yeah, that episode was actually pretty good. It had cat people in it.
Yeah, and we all know your thoughts on cat people now, I guess.
It had cat people and their babies were just kittens.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. It was
It's so
kind of
weird.
adorable.
And adorable, but weird.
But when you think about it, I would assume that's actually a logical point of view standpoint. That before they become people,
Yeah,
they're
but
just cats.
it implies like a metamorphosis though, where all their bones
Yeah.
change as opposed to a fuzzy baby.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
I'd like to
just
see a cat person cocoon. Goes into it, a kitten that comes out as like
Crawled-
a toddler.
But it does the same thing that caterpillar does in the cocoon, where it completely liquefies and reforms into another creature.
I didn't need to know that.
Did you not know that?
I don't
That's
know
like the
much
most.
about
That's like the
caterpillars.
most haunting thing about caterpillars turning into butterflies is that if you open up a cocoon, it's not like a half like formed creature. It's actually just liquid. It turns into it literally.
Well, I'd forgotten
yeah,
that.
it turns into
I think
It
you've
turns
killed
into
things
biomass,
with
then
gooey
reforms
liquid
itself.
centers for me from now on.
Yeah. You're telling me, dude, that was like the most freaky thing I ever heard was like, oh yeah, no, they just like turn into biomass and then reform into another creature. It's like, what?
I saw the other day a spider shed its skin.
Ugh.
No, this
The
isn't
horror.
supposed to happen.
The horror. Yeah. Creatures are weird, man. Still less of a freak than Cobb.
Absolutely
freak.
less of a freak than Cod.
How is he so weird?
You know what? All the little details. Like in the last scene, his teeth change constantly. Sometimes they're like golem fangs. Other times they're like hillbilly squares, but some of them are missing. It's the
Got
fact
those-
that he wears little slippers that they're like old people's shoes, but
Yeah.
in the weird kind of way that he's wearing them with like royal robes.
Yeah. The fact that his eyes are no longer eyes, but just vacuous holes into the back of his head. Disturbing. The fact that he's like
Maybe
hulking
that
out,
got
but
him
also
the
like
M rating
rippling
as
and
well.
bulging.
Kids wouldn't like that.
Yeah, that's some nightmare fuel. I think if I were like 12 watching this, that would be the kind of thing that would haunt my dreams for years afterwards.
Yeah. But at least we do get the dragon hug. It is very wholesome.
It's all worth it for dragon hugs. Wish I had a dragon friend.
What would you do with the dragon friend?
Never-ending story.
I'd just burn some things.
right on their back, then go trogdoring.
I think I would have to have a bad dragon situation here.
Please no. Oh my god.
God, you have the one dragon in the world. You're not going to try it.
No, for the same reason I wouldn't try it if I had a horse.
Everyone has a horse. And it's well documented what can go wrong if you have a horse.
You disgust me.
I disgust me too.
I don't know where to go from that.
God. I still wonder what do you think the creatures that were like humans and dragons when they're same, what do you think they look like?
Kittens.
They're just kittens. And then they're like, oh, we're going to do this. And then they went through the metamorphosis. Some of them grew wings and scales, and the others just turned into people.
Turned into shitty people, yeah. Way worse.
Yeah, also, another thing that bothered me the most about this film is that magic is not a way to make money.
No.
No?
Yeah, the sorceress actually has become like the person selling fabrics. So she's like, there's no money in magic. Stuff it.
That bothers you, though?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That should ideally be because she forgot magic, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
No, she hasn't forgotten magic.
So magic's never really explained along with all the things.
They don't really do, but don't even do much magic in this movie.
It's a true name scenario, but they don't explain it.
Well, yeah, they bring up the idea of true
that
names.
Sparrowhawk's a very Gandalf wizard.
Yeah.
He just kind of does a few things that don't have any super impact on anything.
Yeah, but
No.
apparently he's the best wizard out there.
Yeah.
Like, he does a similar thing to Gandalf, where at one point he just makes things light. When he takes Aaron from the slavers, we don't see him do any magical stuff except, it's really bright outside right now, guys. It's really bright. What'd he do? Surf a flashbang?
He also just walks in
Yeah.
and then like just goes, yeah, come with me. And the shackles come off, but that's
Yeah.
like not major.
There is a debate we were having on whether or not he did legally buy Aaron.
Yeah. Yes, that one,
I mean, 'cause
please.
he picks a boy out of a slaver's wagon, takes him to a farm, and says, "Now plow."
It's true, though.
Yeah, like who knows?
He basically got a slave. He pretty much, in fact, him saving Aaron from the wolves, he pretty much got a slave from that point on, and he
Yeah.
was just taking his property back. Aaron doesn't do too much of free will in this movie.
No, he doesn't.
Anytime he tries doing things for himself, he gets kidnapped.
Yeah, even at the end, it's just a bunch of people telling him, "This is your true name. Go do things I
Yeah.
want you to do."
Yeah, pretty much.
Though
It's just
I
like,
will
hey,
give
you
it
need
credit.
learn a lesson, kid, right now.
The movie in Cobbin, he's not just a dark wizard.
Mm.
He's a dark wizard of industry. Like, guys, where does Voldemort get his money? You know, but Cobb's a slave trader. It makes sense.
Yeah, he's actually got like a thing going on the side other than just, I want to be immortal. I'm going to dedicate everything to that. He's got like, his gang with their ridiculous helmets going out trying to take slaves.
Yeah, Cheech and the Helmet Boys.
Cheech and the Helmet Gang.
Man, the thing that also bothered me was that he's got the little eye things on the helmet, but never used them.
Oh,